He raised his hand to cover half of his face. Even in this dire situation, he calmly spoke, sarcastically remarking that those believers were truly reckless enough to offer their own bodies as sacrifices to summon demons. Without bothering to glance at the wild crowd, he merely let out a faint cold laugh. Instantly, the monstrous creatures revealed their true forms, their bodies twisted and eyes bloodthirsty, locking onto him like predators hunting their prey. In the sky, a blue lightning bolt exploded with a rumble, then countless intertwined electric currents erupted fiercely, just like the time he transformed into a giant before. Ihi's voice echoed like a steel bell. Unfortunately, this time I also have troops to unleash. Those lizards aren't resurrected in vain. They are the seeds of these superhuman giants. Immediately after his words, the ground trembled as towering giant figures, over 10 meters tall, slowly emerged, roaring in response to the call of the king they worship. The enraged demons charged en masse, mouths wide open revealing sharp teeth, releasing dark powers as they swarmed around Ihi. But before any of them could unleash their full strength, their flesh exploded into chunks of fresh red pulp, ending their fate so brutally that they didn't have time to scream. The demons initially appeared with terrifying grandeur, but their end was tragically absurd. Only a heavy thud could be heard as their bodies were crushed by Ihi's giant army into a pulp, with not a single intact face remaining. A wave of giants from everywhere surged onto the battlefield, their colossal footsteps pounding the ground simultaneously, causing it to tremble as if it would shatter. On the other side, a pastor clad in red, serving as the deputy bishop, trembled as he appeared. His feet were rooted to the ground yet felt as if he was standing on thin ice, stammering incoherently. The leader of the church was mysteriously killed in the blink of an eye, and now countless giants appeared one after another. What were they really? Meanwhile, his eyes kept fixed on the giant procession but still saw no trace of the church leader. He hastily raised 2 fingers to his forehead, muttering incantations to activate spiritual vision in order to search. Thanks to this, he saw Ihi's real figure towering right beside the coffin, and horror immediately gripped him tightly. He understood that the boy's target was Thantai, but despite shouting orders for him to stop, all that echoed was inside his mind, powerless to be spoken aloud. Just then, Lu Qingzhu and Su Zhou appeared in the sky, both bursting into awakened states and rushing straight down toward the deputy bishop. A declaration of war resounded. Our opponent is you. The pastor in red froze, still reeling from the shock of Ihi, now forced to face 2 new adversaries. His mind pieced together a terrifying truth. All of them had clearly prepared in advance. Could it be that they were agents of the Long Tuok, who for a long time had known about the cult's schemes in this place? From assassinating the leader, to the army of demons being stopped by the giant, and even his own difficulty escaping, ultimately this mission of the cult was bound to declare complete failure. Right in the center of the chaos, as Ihi stepped closer to the coffin, he saw streams of cold air radiating as if to penetrate his bones and even freeze his soul. He gently raised his hand to stroke his chin, his eyes shining with contemplation. The one lying in that coffin clearly bore a deep grudge against him, which was understandable, because he had taken away the position that rightfully belonged to it. At that moment, the system announced, the host has received 5 special divine energy points. During the final stage of the Heavenly Kingdom descent ritual, the last 4 years of accumulated faith were condensed into a form. Half of it was polluted by the host, and that pollution was absorbed by Emotai to create a body for Noyet Yem's descent to the mortal realm. Therefore, when Noyet Yem reincarnates, a portion of the divine power has been taken by the host. After reading this, Ihi just burst out laughing. So that's how things stood. Without hesitation, he stepped closer, bent down, and placed his hand on the coffin lid. His voice carried disdain. These Heavenly Kingdom rejects had never caught his eye. The one he must face from start to finish was only the deity linked to the moon and dreams. Even though he had stolen your divine power, even though you were like a fragile premature child, you should awaken now. Saying that, he forcefully threw his hand, causing the coffin lid to pop up and spin several times in midair. Ihi stepped forward, looking directly inside, growling, "Why do you keep hiding inside this box?" But when his eyes met what lay within, his pupils contracted, his whole body froze, and he involuntarily let out a short, surprised sound. Huh? He had thought a terrible thing was concealed in that coffin, but upon closer inspection, it turned out to be nothing special other than looking more luxurious than the other coffins. There was no sign of any demon. He stood silent for a while, so astonished that he blurted out, "What the hell is going on? Why is it so empty inside? What exactly are they up to?" The confusion quickly turned into a sense of offense. He leaned forward, gathered energy in his right hand, a sneer twisting his lips, and coldly said, "What kind of deity acts so stealthily like this?" In the blink of an eye, his great blade appeared, the long, gleaming blade majestic and imposing. He slammed the tip of the blade onto the ground, standing firm with an unassailable air. The scene around him suddenly grew silent. The roaring of the giants, the clashes between demons and steel, the entire battle between Suzhou and Tan Truck against the deputy leader all vanished without a trace, as if the world existed solely for him. Amidst that silence, a voice rang out, "Ee-hee." Instinctively, he turned his eyes toward the sound, and indeed, someone appeared. The space suddenly shifted. A gigantic moon filled the sky, radiant yet bearing a sinister smile that seemed mocking. In that light, a familiar face emerged clearly. Archbishop Lin Chi, the one presumed dead, slowly approaching. His demeanor still cloaked in a false martial aura. He recognized him and his voice hardened. "Is it you?" He narrowed his eyes, his mind stirring as he finally realized the anomaly. The scene he was witnessing, the moon, the space, all was but an illusion, but when it had begun, even he could not grasp. Lin Chi faced He directly, the corner of his mouth curling into a provocative smile. His eyes flashed strangely, piercing his opponent. His voice resonated deeply and hauntingly. "Do you know when you fell into the dream?" His mocking laughter echoed, chilling as metal scraping against bone. Meanwhile, on another front, Lu Qingzhu and Suzhou are joining forces to deal with the giant demon the deputy bishop summoned to hold them back. A harsh expression appeared on the old deputy bishop's face, his mouth muttering that only by using the great demon could they be stopped. He immediately activated his power and projected his vision toward the cult leader to assess the situation. But when he saw He standing alone with his back turned, he instantly froze. A feeling of unease stirred within him. This wasn't right. That kid was unusual. I couldn't sense any divine power from the cult leader. Could it be that these chaotic thoughts made him restless? Ultimately unable to bear the pressure, he hurriedly made a decision. No hesitation, I must go to the divine ear. Gritting his teeth, he drew a jade-green blade, raised his hand to chant a spell, his voice harsh, mystical with divine spear. Once this blade pierces the opponent's body, blood thorns will grow from the inside out, crushing everything into a heap of shredded flesh. Taking advantage of Lu Qingzhu and Suzhou still channeling their strength to fight the demon, he turned and fled, rushing frantically in another direction. As he ran, he roared like a fanatic, saying, "Let the souls of the guilty be punished by the gods, and that filthy body, I will tear it apart." Amid the intense battle, despite swinging his sword to block the demon, Suzhou quickly realized the deputy bishop's true intent. His gaze immediately followed the direction the latter was rushing toward, a cold glint flashing. "Damn it, he's heading straight for He." The murderous aura inside his body exploded. Suzhou unleashed his full power. Dense cold energy spread, making the space feel like a nightmare of icy torment. His voice thundered, "Lu Qingzhu, quickly go protect Yi. I will hold him back." Without hesitation, Suzhou swung his hand, channeling his magic to whirl into a tornado. The energy was torn and twisted before being compressed into a towering storm greatsword that roared as if trying to split the sky. The icy wind combined with the storm created a terrifying slash, powerful enough to crush mountains. He clearly felt his life force being drained, his weapon nearly completely depleted. Silently, he thought, freezing a giant in a moment required nearly all his strength. He glanced at his teammates and with firm resolve said, "Don't hesitate. Our lives are worth nothing compared to Ihi's." Lu Qingzhu immediately spread her wings and soared over the wall of ice, replying decisively, "I understand." Yet even in that urgent moment, she suppressed her fears and shouted as if in prayer, "Don't die, Suzhou." The battlefield was divided by seas of fire and ice, each side pushing the other to their limits. Suzhou's whole body trembled from exhaustion, yet he roared in despair, "Damn it! I can't hold him back any longer." Before him, the muscular, aggressive demon showed no sign of fear. Its eyes burned with bloodthirsty fury. It raised its hellfire-ignited battle axe and swung down upon the glacier with savage power. That slash tore through the entire space, shattering the layer of ice that Suzhou had painstakingly erected into fragments in an instant, the whole battlefield shaking violently as if about to collapse under that earth-shattering axe strike. The demon raised its blazing red eyes to look at the two of them, its face grotesquely twisted in indescribable rage. Facing it, Suzhou's voice echoed, deep and full of killing intent. "Do you think that is enough to kill me? I have not yet ended this blood feud." As soon as he finished speaking, the power within him exploded. Magical energy twisted into sharp blocks of ice like spearheads, whistling as they streaked directly at the demon. A barrage of icy spikes pierced through its steel-like thick skin, creating countless bloodied holes. The monster roared madly, its howls echoing throughout the space as its body was torn apart in chunks. Suzhou's form was engulfed in a dark energy layer, black aura swirling around him, obscuring his figure. From within that dense darkness, he raised one hand high, his voice booming like thunder, proud and majestic. "In my veins flows the power of a mighty branch of the ancient Hua Du clan.